Hello and welcome, my name is Mikel Torrecilla and in this video I will talk about Build Boom Boom, my junior year game made in DigiPen Europe Bilbao. Build Boom Boom is a 3D game made from scratch on C++ on a self-made engine. Everything you are about to see was done in 8 months while taking other classes. First, I will talk about the game and then I will talk about the development of it and the role that I took while developing it. So without further ado, let's begin. Build Boom Boom is a 3D 2v2 couch local multiplayer game on which two teams fight to get the best house at the end of the day. The game is about getting materials that you need to build the house from the material dispensers, refining them on the refiners if necessary, and dropping them into the house so it levels up. The higher the level of the house, the more refined materials it will ask for, and when a house reaches level 5, that team wins. If the timer reaches to 0 before a house reaches max level, the highest level house wins. The players can also craft bombs that explode after some time or when colliding with a house. If a bomb collides with a house, the level of the house drops by 1. Apart from the mechanics of the house, there is also combat. Players have 3 hit points. If a player gets hit, it drops whatever it's carrying and gets stunned for a while. If it dies, the player respawns in front of its house after some time. The more times a player dies, the more it takes them to respawn. Finally, there is also the mechanic of the map. There are 3 different maps and each of them has a special event or gimmick into them so that its playstyle is unique. The game is quite simple, but with this simplicity we found that most of our players understood the rules of the game pretty fast after seeing or playing a game. When finishing a game, most people wanted to play another one, even if they lost, and we were happy to see that the game really fires up that competitive spirit of the people, as it's what we wanted to achieve in the first place. But how did we get to make this game? Well, now I will explain the development of the game from the beginning and how the idea came to be. Also, I will explain my role in making this game. We started the game in September. We were a group of 9 programmers and no artists, as the artists in the 3rd year of DigiPen work on their own personal project. It was the first time for any of us making a game in 3D. Furthermore, it had to be made in our own 3D engine as a requirement. We made few meetings and we all agreed on that we wanted a local multiplayer game. After some more meetings, we decided to make a platformer on which one of the players had to carry the camera. We then divided the group in two, the engine team and the prototype team. The engine team was going to develop the engine core system, while the prototype team was going to develop a prototype on Unity to test the idea. I joined the prototype team and we made a pretty fun prototype. I will probably talk about it in another video. Around November, we left Unity and started translating the prototype to our engine, but soon we encountered many problems. Developing on an unfinished Rust engine was much harder than developing on Unity, and things that we had in Unity could not be done in our engine. On December, we saw that the game we wanted to make was not possible, so we discarded the idea and tried to do something else with what we had. The good point is that at this point, most of the engine's core features were already complete, and we could focus on making a game the next 4 months. We had some meetings, and after proposing some ideas, we decided on a game about people building a house. We started implementing the core mechanics, keeping it as simple as we could, and I worked a bit on the player controller, but my main work was on the levels. I designed and built all of the levels of the game, and implemented most of the in-game events and gimmicks for those. At this point, and after few iterations, the idea was clear and the development of the game was pretty smooth. By the end of the semester, we hosted several tournaments on our campus on which as much as almost 50 people joined. Considering our campus had around 150 students, it was quite an achievement, and we were really happy with the result. As I always state in the gameplay part of the team, and I hardly touched the engine, this game taught me how to work on non-commercial engine made by others and how, if an idea is not possible, there is always time to step back, reconsider the possibilities and get a good result in the end. Overall, this game was a really good experience and gave me a good understanding of 3D games. I also learned a lot about design, especially about level design, as this game was competitive and I always had to have in mind the balance for both teams when designing levels and its events. Finally, I will leave a link to the game in the description of the video. Thanks for watching, and if you have any questions, don't hesitate to leave a comment. I hope that you enjoyed the video and that you have a nice day. See you!